Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Revenue Agency Podcast. My name is Brittany Hall, and I'm joined by my husband, co-founder and president of the Revenue Agency, Ryan Hall. How was that? You like that?
That's a nice intro.
That is a nice intro. You know,
Need
some people,
loving.
it's funny on these podcasts. I can't take it seriously, to be honest, but they're like, and now, it's like an announcer thing.
It's a whole production.
It is. It's a whole production. But you know what? We're not really doing that over here. We're keeping it real. And it's a great day. Ryan and I are on it. Usually we record podcasts when we're like wound up about stuff. So we're going to record a couple today. So stay tuned on those. But today we're going to keep it business, right? And you know what? I have found more and more. The older we get, the more people we come in contact with, the more businesses we see do their thing, is nobody really knows what the fuck they're doing on like a whole broad scale, which is why I think it's smart when somebody knows one thing and then they hire people who know the other things. That's when a business works really well. But, I think it's funny because people who aren't in business, they think they kind of put like owning a business, starting a business, running a business up on a pedestal. Like you have to have a business plan, you have to have this and you have to have that. And then they think, oh gosh, those people must have it all together. And then the entrepreneurs in the world are like, we don't have it together. We don't know what we're doing, but we're just freaking making a go of it. And I told her, I go, we're getting by on grit and God. And, I say that kind of as a joke because, things are going really well. But man, I think a lot of people would have given up by now.
Well, the funny thing is, we actually do know what we're doing. We've been in business in one way or another for a long, long time at this point, but not in the way people probably would assume you have to know business. Like I was
Yeah.
just talking to a friend of mine who's a very successful guy, but he's a corporate guy. And we were kind of talking back and forth about a lot of things, but the gist of it was, he mentioned a business plan. And I thought, a business plan. And I thought, I don't know if any of the successful people, and we've been around a lot of successful people for a long time in a bunch of different industries, from blue collar to white collar to famous people to like you name it, right? A lot of success.
Yeah.
And I think, and what I told my friend was what we have seen is that the people who are really successful, I would say the common characteristic, because some of them are good at sales, most all of them are good at sales. The common characteristic they all have is an unmatched desire for success. That's it. Some of
Yeah.
them are I mean, and I mean this, like, listen to the words I'm saying. They're a complete disaster. But man, they got an engine that will not quit. And they
Yeah.
just go get it. And they're
Yeah.
like, oh, I broke my leg, doesn't matter. Got in a car accident, doesn't matter. Got divorced, doesn't matter. I'll make twice as
Yeah.
much, doesn't matter. I'm
Yeah.
going to this level and nothing will stop me. That's what they all have.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I think that this has been coming up more and more, especially this week, because I've trained and coached on a couple Zooms this week. And the topic that I keep coming back to with people who are really like solopreneurs. And then last night I coached a bunch of real estate agents, and some of them are leaders, they have big teams, but they all want to grow and have success. And I think that the one thing that is common across all the successful people that we see, like you said, they have a big engine, but it's because they have a big desire. They know like where they're heading, they know what they're going for, they know what they want, and the rest of it really will figure itself out. When people get stuck in the, well, I have to know how to do this, and I need to have a plan, and I need to have this and this, it's like, as soon as you think that you have a plan that you're going to execute, like, yes, having a general idea is a good idea. You got to at least know where to start and then take the steps from there. You and I like plan things out, or we have like an idea of stuff. But when you think something has to be so followed to a plan, that's like corporate. That's like government. We know a lot of these things, they move slow. They waste a lot of money. They waste a lot of time. They don't get shit done fast. Over here in like the entrepreneur space, you don't have time for that. And so you always have to lead from a big desire and know what you're moving towards. And that is where a lot of people get stuck. People who I see who start a business, but then they never really get going. It's because they're trying to figure it all out instead of just fucking getting started. I can think of one person specifically where it's like, they've been thinking about an idea for years And it's like, fucking start. Like, just start. Just go talk to some people about what you're doing. Like,
Yeah.
see if anything comes from it. You might be surprised. You might land your first client for, 10 grand. And then you figure it out. It's like you can't figure it out before you don't have anything to figure out. Like, one of our clients, it was funny. He's like, okay, well, what's happening with these systems? I go, the best way to perfect a system? Run people through it. Like, run it. You got to run the
Yeah.
system. Right now, we have nothing going in the system. Like, in a process, like, you figure out a process real damn fast when you have something actively happening in it.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah, we
yeah.
knew a gal that was super, super successful in a business that Brittany used to be involved in. Super, super successful. Not like, oh, she made like $20,000 a month. No, she was making like hundreds of thousands of dollars a month for years. And she's like, I built this business in my bathroom because it was the
Mm,
only quiet space in the house. And it's like you would never ever see that on a business plan. But guess what? Her revenue did not lie. Like she
yep.
was crazy successful.
Yep. That's the other thing is, people who are like, they went to school for business or they went to school for marketing. Guess who didn't? Ryan and I. We didn't go to school for business. Our education happened out in the real world in real businesses making real profit, not just something we put on a fake spreadsheet for a homework assignment. But it's like, they say, well, your KPIs and you're this and you're that. And we kind of have a joke in our company about KPIs because we're like, the only KPI that I give a shit about is the dollars going into my fucking bank account. That's the only key performance indicator I give a shit about because if it's like, oh, I'm getting in this many leads and blah, blah, blah. Yes, I understand that these metrics are important to track. But what happens if, oh, all of these metrics, they're good. They're good by industry standards, but then no money is being made? How is this good? How is this positive? But education tells you that, oh, yeah, good. That's good. But then it's like, but are you making any money? I was thinking today, right, when we were talking about this, about like, people going to college or not going to college. And I don't really give a shit about college or no college. I think that if you want to go into a career that, requires you to get a higher education, then great. Absolutely. Go for that. I do believe that you can make incredible connections at universities and great networking possibilities. We know a lot of people who, went to schools where they were in fraternities or sororities and they made connections that they still have today. And they really helped them kind of climb the ladder in a lot of ways, or they were great connections to help them out with contacts or, business deals or different things. So definitely your network can get you indoors that other things never will. But it's crap. What was my thought on that? What was I talking
Well, you were
about?
talking about you don't really care if
Yeah,
you go to
college or
college or
no
don't go to
college.
college.
I don't know. I had a point. I don't know what happened to it.
But I think
Yeah.
there's nothing like getting your hands dirty
Yeah,
that will like help you figure it out, right? So like Brittany said,
absolutely.
Brittany went to college. She has a degree. She's never
Yep.
once used it for anything that she's ever done. But she
Well,
does have
maybe
a
a
degree.
little. Personal
Well,
training. I personal trainer gave me the
yeah. Okay.
That's
So
it.
personal training.
Yeah.
I never went to college, but I just had this desire to be successful that just kept me going. I was so hungry to learn. And you would think, oh, well, you were probably really good at school. I actually was pretty good at school, but I couldn't care any less. I told my mom, I had a bunch of friends that were seniors. I was a junior. I said, I just want to quit. She's like, the hell you are? Oh,
Seriously.
no. And I was like, well, there's nothing for me here. I'm going to be a truck driver. And my mom, actually, I do have to give her a lot of credit. She's like, I don't care what you do, but you just have to like, if you're going to do anything, you have to do it 100%. So
Yeah.
I do have to give her a lot of credit for that. She doesn't care about college, and she was a registered nurse forever. So like she had a successful, career.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Well, and I
but
think
what
that
I
it's
always had is
yeah.
this, I had this desire, right? So I became this person that wanted to learn absolutely everything I possibly could about my industry, which was trucking, heavy equipment, engines, mechanics, all that stuff. Like I would skip school and go to work and learn. And I would go, like, if I knew a guy was working on an engine, I would skip school and go and just learn. Like, this is the stuff I needed to learn, right? So it wasn't that I wasn't a learner or interested in something because, if you're looking at your kids now, you're like, he just doesn't give a shit about school. It's like, well, maybe school isn't for him, right?
That's the thing.
I
Yeah.
mean, on a lot of people's standards, I'm probably a successful person. Have a nice family. We have a nice house. We have nice things. So it's like, don't if your son or daughter isn't super wound up about school, like what are they into? Right.
Yeah.
And it can't just be laying around the house. Right. They can't
No,
just be like,
no.
oh, I'm into, this or that. But it's like hairdressers. I was a truck driver, and so many of my parents' friends and my friends' parents were like, "You're literally." Actually said these words to me: "You're throwing your life away. Like, what are you doing? You
Yeah.
have to go to school. You have to get into computers. You have to do this. You have to do that." I'm like,
Get
"I'm not
into
gonna do it.
computers.
I'm not gonna do it." And this is in the
Well,
'90s, right? So computers, and I'm sure there's a lot of my friends that got into computers that are successful, but it's like
yeah.
that's not for me. So your path for your child might not be the same as theirs. Now, I would think they have to have a little bit of an idea of what they're interested in and kind of like, hey, what they want to do.
Yeah.
But like, don't force them into a certain thing because you think it's the right way. It's 2026 and it's totally different now than it was in 2022. It's radically different than it was in the 90s. And just imagine what it's going to be in 4 or 5 or 10 or 15 years when your kids are
Yeah.
going to school or they're going to get into the trades or they're going to, you know what I mean? It's like, so
Yeah.
maybe be a little bit open minded to, you might not know what it is, but if they have a desire and they're hungry, let them try it out.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, we have to remind ourselves of that because if you just look at maybe different career fields and maybe people that you associate with that career. I remember when Ryan worked for my dad, like when he was like 20, my dad was like, he's way too smart to be a truck driver. Which that's not knocking truck drivers, but my dad just saw so much potential in Ryan. And my dad started out in trucks. And, but which is funny because we always judge things out of our experiences or our beliefs or what we associate it with. And yeah, I mean, our daughter told us, she's like, I want to do this. And we're like, really? Like, I don't know. And then I was like, why are we, like obviously we have some preconceived notion about that career field where we're like literally in my head, I was like, you're too smart for that. But it's like, what do we want her to do? Like, be a doctor and then deal with the government and insurance and all this bullshit? It's like, no, but it's not like Ryan said. And I love that your mom was like, whatever you're going to do, be great at it.
Mm-hmm.
And you were, and you've been very successful and you were very smart with your money and you made good investments. And, you were really smart with what you were doing and you made it like a huge stepping stone for your life. And it's like, why wouldn't we just also kind of help our kids in that same way, no matter what the field is that they want to go into? I really do believe that if you have enough passion and a big enough engine, you can be successful at anything. It's just getting in and working hard when you're young. And I think that's how you really like kind of prove yourself in different industries.
Yeah, and learning from your mistakes, right? Like everybody makes mistakes. We all do. We do it daily.
Yeah.
But here's the difference. Make a mistake once and then learn from it. Like if you keep making the same mistakes, like you got to figure something out. Like make a mistake, make a mental note and move on. Don't do that again, right?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
that really is how we learn best, right? Like I bet you could probably think of an example in your head of, man, I really screwed that up. And it was 20 years ago. And you're like, I never did that again. Like there is
Yeah.
multiple things in my life where I'm like, yeah, I definitely didn't do that right. But guess what? I never ever did the same mistake again.
Yeah. Yeah. And, I want to take it a step further because I always bring this kind of stuff up in conversations, but learn from other people's mistakes. Like if
Be
you
observant.
be observant, like if you recognize certain behavioral patterns, like from the time I was a kid, you would see people get divorced over certain things, right? Like, I mean, we've all seen it. Like, I think it's 60 or 50 some, like close to 60% of all marriages end in divorce. So we've all seen people get divorced and we kind of maybe have an understanding of why they got divorced. A lot of it is around communication, but I think even taking it a step further, I think that most divorces are because of sex and money. And I think the communication around it, because it's not just that you have it or don't have it, but I think that how people communicate and work together around those two things are like huge because of how people see those. And so even as a kid, I was like, I mean, I didn't obviously know like the sex stuff or whatever, but it was like all these people, they're getting divorced around this time in marriage or when their kids are this age or this happened or they had an affair and he was gone all the time and she didn't feel loved or whatever, just all the stuff. And it's like you can you see enough of that stuff, you notice a pattern. So I don't need to get into that situation in my marriage to learn from it because I can see how all these other people fucked up their relationships. So I'm like, okay, like that's all great stuff to be aware of to make sure that we don't even go down that road. And I would say so far, we've been together almost 18 years. We have a very successful relationship. And we always say, oh God, this dog, we're like, it's not for everybody, but I do think that that's one of the things that we've been very successful at. Take it for a sec, or I'm going to shut this window.
Well, and the thing is, learning from other mistakes. So Brittany's the youngest of 5. I'm the youngest of 2, but I mean, I think that's kind of a younger sibling thing, and all siblings, you have cousins, you have, aunts and uncles and everything. So as long as, a person is observant, right?
Yeah.
But as the youngest, it's like you see all your brothers and sisters get their ass kicked because they did stupid stuff. And it's like, oh, I'm not going to do that. Right. So like take that into business or marriage or whatever it is and be observant, like know what's going on around you, like know what's happening in your industry. Right. If you see people that try things and it doesn't work for them, you go, why didn't that work for them? And maybe I shouldn't do that. Like, I don't, be observant, be resourceful.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. I even think that that's something, in your industry, pay attention to what your competition is doing. Or if you see people like jumping on the bandwagon and you're like, this has been going on for a while. But the thing that I notice with trends is if you're early on a trend, it's good, but you never want to be the last to join a trend. So always be looking for what's the next trend. This was huge in the fitness space. I remember when I was in charge of like the group fitness department at the fitness club in our old hometown, I was always like, okay, like that's been going on for a while. So we don't need to like jump on that trend. But like when Zumba came out, it's like jump on that. Zumba was huge. It's still, I'm sure those classes still pack out because people are just diehard for it. But you saw certain spin modalities and things like that kind of fade. And now it's all about recovery and peptides and supplementation and all of that. So it's like, how are you going to always be maintaining an edge and being like ahead of the trend in your industry? Like what is the thing that gives you an edge? And that's a really like something to tap into. And even when you're thinking about, we're talking about like careers and entrepreneurship versus corporate versus jobs or all that stuff, which there's a place for all of it. Like we are entrepreneurs at heart. That's why we, do what we do. But look where, like, if you're like, I really love real estate. Okay, cool. But what's going to give you an edge? Because the fact that you're a real estate person, an agent, or in mortgage, or you're an HVAC, or you're a coach, like those are just titles. They don't mean anything. Somebody's not going to hire you because you have a title. Like people aren't impressed by me because I'm like, I'm the owner of the revenue agency. They're like, what the fuck's the revenue agency? But if they know that like, hey, like when you work with them, you talk to the owner and they are right on it and they get back to you and they're the best in the business at this and this and this. And that's the stuff that gives us an edge is we're responsive. We work quick. We put out a great product. We have a lot of integrity with what we do. Those are the things that aren't in my title, but that's what gives us an edge in this industry. And those are the things that are going to give us staying power when people figure out these other people aren't very responsive. They don't get results. They don't do what they say they're going to do. Maybe they start off super hot and they're all in, and then 2 months later they kind of fade because now they're showing you who they really are, right? So that's always something to remember too, is like, what are your gifts and your abilities and the things that are really like who you authentically are as a person that are going to give you the edge in what you're doing? That's something really important to hone in on.
I'm nodding. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely.
Ryan, with you, okay, yes, you were a truck driver, but one thing about Ryan is when he was younger and he was an employee, like he worked for my dad, he got the longest life out of the tires because of how he drove. He got the longest life out of brakes. He'd never had any wrecks. He washed his truck every day. So what does that show an owner? This guy, I could pay him more and keep him around because he's a great employee and I don't want to lose him. Ryan and I believe very highly in compensating great people greatly. And I'm not saying like go wild and like,
but above scale. Like if you want to keep great people, like great people don't stick around. Like let's say this. A-level people don't stick around B-level wages or salary. Like you have to match where they're at. So if they're A level, you better pay them A level or they're going to go
Yeah.
somewhere else. And why, how could you blame them? Why wouldn't they
Yeah.
if somebody else is going to pay them
So
more?
I want to wrap up that thought though, because he was actually, because of how he performed, and he was very efficient. He could get more loads out than anybody. He wanted to get extra loads because he would make more money. So he started earlier and was willing to come in. So a person like that makes the company more money, but also saves money on the bottom line on repairs and parts and all this stuff. When another guy's getting, half of the miles that Ryan's getting out of brakes, that truck that guy's in is more expensive because of who's driving it. So it's like, that's the thing too with people is I think sometimes owners look at stuff like, well, they want me to pay them this much, blah, blah, blah. Like I joke, I'm like, we are not your VA and we sure as hell do not cost what a VA costs. VAs are typically $5 an hour. I'm hundreds an hour. But guess what? There's a reason, right? Like we're putting out a different product, like we're doing different things. So great people who are experts at things, you need to be willing to pay them. And it's going to save you a lot of time. It's going to save you money on, screw ups, and it's going to feel better. Like, and your company's going to probably perform better. So
over the years, I've worked with lots and lots of different people. Some are low performers, but they just show up and they get the job done, and it's not great, but you need a body to fill that space. So you kind of put up with it. I've also worked with very high performers. And to be honest, high performers are probably going to be a little bit more high maintenance, meaning they might want to do it their way. Like they might not want to listen to what you have to say, but Brittany worked with a guy who's a really good friend of ours now, but she hired him one time for, he was a trainer, and he's a wildcat. He is a wildcat, but he is the best in the business.
He's the best. He's the best.
So Brittany was like, I got to let him go because I can't micromanage him because he'll just leave. So you kind of have to understand your people.
Well, in that situation specifically, I remember we had shirts that all the trainers had to wear when they were teaching classes, just to identify yourself as I'm the trainer, because you might have new people in the class or whatnot. And he was rolling in whatever he was wearing. And I thought, okay. And this is a leadership thing that I want to point out. And I'm not saying that I'm whatever, but I've kind of cut my teeth and on lots of different things where I've messed up. I've kind of burnt relationships. I've done things wrong. And so I've learned a lot. And at this point in my leadership journey and being a manager and whatever of people, I was like, okay, I can pull a hard line with him on this and run him off, or I can not make a big deal out of it. I can maybe mention, hey, don't forget, it's best if we can wear our shirts, when we're teaching. That's kind of, policy. But people loved him, and members were consistent to his classes, and he brought people over to the classes that he was teaching. So do I really want to fuck around about a shirt when the dude's putting out an incredible product and he's showing up? Now, there are certain things that are non-negotiable for me where I'm like, you show up on time, you show up prepared, and you do a great job. Now that is a non-negotiable for me. But I think for high performers don't fuck up that stuff. They're like, oh shit, I was moving so fast and I was doing this and doing that and whatever, they're busy. So he's like, I didn't have my shirt. Okay, that's fine. But hey, let's try to remember it. I don't want to make a big deal out of it, but hey, let's try to get that going. But I knew for a fact that if I started micromanaging him on stupid shit, I was going to run him off, because I'm the exact same. I hate to be micromanaged. I have quit jobs because people started trying to do stupid crap, or I've gone to management. This has happened too, where they're like, well, we don't want to lose you. They're gone. And I've definitely ruffled feathers in different businesses I've worked in, because people are like, well, how come you're not on her about stuff? It's like, well, because she does what she says. I don't have to tell her to do it, and I know she's going to get it done. So don't F with her.
Mm-hmm.
So
don't worry about it.
But yeah, so if you have high performers in your company, you really got to know how to handle them.
So what I was saying was, I've worked with, just average employees, and I've worked with really high performing employees, and managed both. And it's so much fun when you have a whole entire team and they're all high performers and they're all great at their job and everybody's making money and they're having a blast. The energy is so infectious, so contagious. Yeah. It's amazing how much better and how much more fun everything can be. And if you have to pay your employees a little bit more money, it's worth it, because I'm sure there's a lot of people on here also who have had bad employees and had to fire them and they screwed stuff up and it cost you a bunch of money.
Yeah.
It's like, you don't want those people. You want to pay them above standard and then keep them happy. But like Brittany said, to a point, there's a few things that are non-negotiables, obviously. But it's like, let them run.
Yeah.
Let them run. If they want to run, let them run. And then like match their pace. Like
Yeah.
help them kind of do what they want. Or like if they want something, like give it to them. Right? It's just so much better long term for the business, because here's what I know. You're not going to be successful in business if you have a bunch of low level players working for you. You're just not.
And if you have the luck of having a high performer person, like a level person, and you have a bunch of C level people and you put them in with C level, they're going to leave, and they're going to like have zero respect for you. They're going to be like, what the F, you know?
Yeah. Like what kind of show is this person running?
Yeah.
Like they got a bunch of derelicts in here, and then I'm doing this. Like I got to find something else.
Here's the thing,
because they
too.
don't want to be in that. They don't want to be in that energy. They want to be
also
playing with A level players.
If I'm an A level person and I'm getting 2.5 times the amount of work done as a C level player, but we're making the same amount of money, like I'm pissed.
And
so either I'm going to go, fuck this, and my attitude is going to drop. And then I'm like, oh, okay, this is a standard. I guess I'm just going to perform like a C player, which I've never actually been able to do that. I've had people give me the recommendation. One of the companies we were in, Ryan and I were on a great salary, but stuff was just messed up. And we were like, we're not making any progress here. Like, we don't know what to expect day to day. Like, this is crazy. And somebody literally told me, just go and sit in your office and collect your paycheck. And I was like, I'm not wired like that. Like, we quit. We walked away from 5 figures a month.
Well, you told the owner, you're like, you should pay me less because I'm not.
Yeah, because I'm a person of integrity, and I also always have the best interest of the business in anything I work. And even when I'm the employee, I have the best interest of the business. So it's like, I literally did. I was like, I think you're paying, like, if I was running this place, I would not be paying me what you're paying me. This is a bad business decision because of the work you're having me do. It's like, I am so much more capable of doing a lot of things that, you know, but it's like, but you won't give me like the reins and let me run. Like I'm just like, it's chaos. God, I'm getting triggered.
But yeah, you told the owner, you shouldn't pay me this. You should pay me less. And he's like, no. It's good. You're like,
it's fine. I'm like, well, this is not smart. This is bad business. Yeah. It was crazy. It's crazy. I mean, it was kind of like on paper, a super good deal for us, but I was like, this isn't right. This just doesn't feel right. So,
well, we weren't in alignment with it. It didn't feel good, and it ended up not working out. We left that company. And it's like, this isn't for us.
Yeah.
So here we are doing a podcast on a Wednesday morning.
Yeah. Gosh. Over 1.5 years later. Which is, interesting, but funny how things happen. But let's kind of wrap this part up, right? You know, talking about business. What would be, just say somebody's in business for themselves and they're like, I've got a team of B and C players, but I'd really like to have some A players. What do I need to, like, where do I need to pivot? What do I need to do? What would you tell them?
Well, we've actually been in this situation before. I was managing a company and they had a bunch of B-level players, and we were like, well, the owner was like, well, we can't just pay them more, to keep the analogy going. This isn't what he said, but to keep the analogy going, we can't just pay them A-level wages. They're B-level players. And I go, yeah, I know, because they're only going to do B-level quality. You need to start looking for A-level players. And so you need to offer like, hey, this is what we pay here. We're looking for like A-level players. So I would like, I mean, maybe this isn't the corporate idea. I would say replace those people with A-level players. So go find somebody A-level, and you're going to have to pay them more than the people you're paying now. But go look for somebody that's super hungry and is going to do an excellent job. Make sure they do. I always hire everybody on a probationary period because talk is cheap, right? Always probationary.
Yeah.
So then you have an easy out, right? 90 days or whatever. But then set a high standard, and if that person achieves it, then you go, here we go, right? So this person's in, and then I might get rid of one of these other people or say, hey, listen, here's the new standard of what we're going to do. You have to meet this standard. And if you can't, hey, we love you, but we don't have a spot for you anymore. Like, I'm leveling up this company, and we would love to have you with us. I know you're probably loyal because you've been here for however many years or whatever the situation is, but it's
Yeah.
like we're going next level and raise your standard. And some people, you know what? Some people might be able to do it. Unfortunately, most won't. So it's like,
Yeah.
but the thing about business, and I really remind people of this, I'm a really nice person. I really enjoy people and I like people. Um, but when it comes to business, it's like, this isn't a jobs program. This is kind of what I've been
No.
on for a while now. It's like, this isn't a jobs program. I'm not here to employ people. I do employ people, but that's not why I'm here. I'm here to turn a profit with this company. And so
Yeah.
if you can help me do that, let's go. Let's
Yeah.
run hard and I will pay you well. Um, but we have standards here.
Yeah.
If you can't meet our standards, man, you're out. Sorry.
Yeah.
Like
And I think the
best of
last thing
luck.
that kind of just popped into my head that I would add on to that is we've also seen where owners, they have like B level or C level players and they keep getting mad at them that they're not A level players. And it's like, listen, they've shown you who they are. You are compensating them at the level of how they perform. So it's like, you're compensating them at like minimum. Um, but you're mad because they're not doing what you think that they should do, and not meaning like they're not completing the tasks, but like maybe they're not taking initiative like you wish they would or whatever. It's like being pissed at a fish because they can't climb a tree, right? It's like, I almost go to the owners like, well, maybe you're the dumb one because
Yeah.
you're not getting it. Like,
Yeah.
what are you not getting? Like, you can't keep trying to put, a square peg in a round hole. Like, it's not going to fit. Get rid of that peg and find a new peg.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there is
Yeah.
no shortage of people and people that want to work. There's no shortage of that. And so it's
Mm-hmm.
like, maybe stop trying to force things that just aren't working.
Yeah. And
You
I
know?
think, I mean, we've said this before, it's hard to see the picture when you're inside the frame. So I've actually,
Absolutely.
huh?
I said, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, so actually, I'm really good at going into a company like on an audit basis and saying, okay, here's where you're coming up short. Like
Yeah.
this is what's hurting you, and that's great that Billy Bob's been here for 15 years and he's loyal. Like, let's find something that's a really great fit for him because maybe what he's doing now is slowing your growth. Like maybe we might not have to get rid of him, but we might need to put him in something else that's more fit for what he's doing. So I'm not saying
Yeah.
just go in there and fire everybody
No.
and get somebody, you know what I mean? Like you probably might need to fire some people, but if some people are so loyal, and they just love the company and they want to be there and they want to help, but they're just a B level player, man, we got room for everybody on the team. Okay.
Yeah.
But you might not be our starting pitcher. Okay.
Yeah.
You might be the bat boy, but hey, we need a bat boy, right? I'm serious.
Yeah. 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 I know. Yeah, I agree. I agree. So wrapping this up, even though I already said that, I think it's important to know because turns out people listen to our podcast. We're always like, man, we got downloads.
Yeah, we got a
Who's
bunch more
listening?
downloads last week. What? We
Yeah,
love
we're
it.
like, what's going on? So, if you're listening, thank you for listening. We would love if you would share this. If you find value or humor or, value in this, please share it with
Or
more
just drop
people.
us a note. Say like,
Yeah, we want to know, like, are
Hey.
you listening? Like, who are you?
yeah,
Um,
write us info@therevenueagency.com or text us if you have our number, just
Yeah, hit us up on social media.
yeah, hit
But
us up and be like, hey, I listened to it. Y'all are crazy, but I like it.
yeah.
Whatever.
But what I want to say is if you're listening to this and you go, gosh, wow, I wish, I have a company, I have a business. I would love to have Ryan or Brittany come in and audit it, or I don't really audit. Ryan's our auditor because Ryan's very brilliant at operations. I am good at auditing like a brand and even just going over growth strategy with your company. That's what I do. So if that's something that you're interested in, definitely email us info@therevenueagency.com. I do complimentary strategy calls with people. Ryan, if you're interested in having him audit your company, definitely book a time with us and email us and reach out because we would love to see what you got going on, hear about it, and how we can partner with you. So
We love helping people win. I
Yeah.
really love helping people win. I love sports, and I'll keep this short because it's over. But I love helping people win. Man, it's so much fun. And business can be challenging, but it doesn't have to be. Right? You get the
Yeah.
right people in there, it can be so much fun.
fun.
So,
Yeah, I love
yeah,
that.
man.
It can be totally so much fun. Well, guys, thanks for listening in today. We try to drop these every week, but we need to be better.
We have
But thanks
sports and
for
lives.
and there's a lot of episodes that you can go back and listen to. But thanks for joining us today. Like, subscribe, please share with your friends and family and colleagues, and we would appreciate that. So we'll see you next time.